So I thought I would do sort of just a fun video on The Walking Dead. And this is season 1, episode 6. It's called Test Subject 19. This came out probably about 10 years ago or so. Now this is Dr. Edwin Jenner, and he's a scientist at the CDC. But I want you to look back here behind him on this whiteboard, and it's got the circle and the triangle. And if you're familiar, we see the circle and the triangle in a lot of Freemasonry symbolism. And that might not really be a connection to you. That might not mean anything to you, but there are a lot of circle, triangle, sacred geometry or geometric type things involved in Freemasonry, but also Vitruvian Man, the symbol of man, which is represented by the number 5. And we see a lot of the number 5 in the Walking Dead show if you know where to look to see where they're at. And I'll give you a hint that in one episode, there is a Roman numeral 5 on a building in a specific location. And that building, that very particular building in that location, is the head of the Census Department for the United States. So it may not mean too much to you yet, but then we look at the fact that in season 1, episode 6, back in 10 years ago or so, it was test subject 19. And it's all about this virus that is infecting people and causing them to become zombies, in which they walk around like zombies and they just eat people. Okay, and this guy, Dr. Edwin Jenner, works at the CDC, and he's saying that they don't know what it is, if it's microbial, bacterial, viral. They haven't figured it out yet. So Edwin Jenner, I think, is a play on names, because there is a Dr. Edward Jenner, and this is from Freemasonry Today. You can find this online. And Edward Jenner was the real name. He was a doctor, Freemason, and natural philosopher. Okay, Vi, which is what they call the computer that he's talking to. They call it virtual intelligence, virus inoculation or viral inoculation. And in this article, which you can download and read for yourself, it talks about the publication of 1798 of Jenner's findings of cowpox, because he was the one that discovered the cowpox vaccination. And this was for smallpox, gained him instant support by members of the scientific community. And recognition of his work was reflected in the foundation of the Jennerian Society in London in 1803 by admirers in order to promote vaccination among the poor. Jenner was actively involved in its affairs. Government grants followed, and Jenner carried out further experimental work on his vaccines, of course, on the poor. And let's see, he was an active Freemason, serving in 1812 as master of the Royal Lodge of, Faith and Friendship, number 270, okay? And it was a lodge that was to become associated with the Jenner family. And there's a long article that goes on to talk about Jenner. And I have a book that I've read on Jenner by a man who did not like Jenner and did not like what he was doing, and knew that he was testing his vaccines on the poor. And he would leave his apprentices to do a lot of the work, and he would inject them and then leave his apprentice there to try to figure out what was going on after the injection. And a lot of people that were injected did not live healthy lives after, according to the book that I read. Now, I got that book off of ForgottenBooks.com. It doesn't seem to be here now, but I do have a copy of it. Forgotten Books requires a membership. It's like $8 a month, but you can find a lot of these old books. So here's a couple: Edward Jenner and Vaccination, Jenner and Vaccination. Now, a lot of these books are purely propaganda by the Freemasons or the progressives or whoever have you, who would like to make sure that the poor stay inoculated. Okay. Oh, guess what? Here's a book called Sheep. It says breeding and management. And they found out what smallpox was actually from in the book. And I'll see if I can't find that book, Cowpox and Smallpox. Jenner, Woodville, and Pearson. Let's see. But anyway, the Walking Dead has a lot of symbolism in it. And just being who I am, someone who was in the military and was taught rigorously by the military to pay attention to detail, which is what I've done throughout my life. And it's become so ingrained in me that I can't help but to pay attention to the details. And the details is where there's a lot of important stuff. So this is Dr. Edwin Jenner, who is supposed to be Edward Jenner, who works at the CDC, who's got a sort of Freemason type symbol behind him on the whiteboard. And I don't know why this thing is talking to me. Says that they don't know where it is. His wife was the first test subject, or test subject 19. They called it TS19. And let's see, I think there was something else I wanted to mention. I guess I forgot. Important to Freemasonry symbolism in The Walking Dead. And there's really a lot of it. A lot of esoteric stuff on numbers and what numbers mean and what they represent. For example, Negan's name has a lot to do with not Freemasonry, but the negation of a thing. So the negative, so he was acting like the negative of what he was. But there you have it. We know by now that the pyramid and the circle are Freemason symbols. They're on the dollar. They play throughout in Freemasonry. And there's a lot of it in The Walking Dead.